for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
And thereafter, we do expect the Minister of Tourism to present the Zambia Institute for Tourism and Hospitality Studies Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 55 of 2026, a bill seeking to revise the composition of the Council of the Zambia Institute of Tourism and Hospitality Studies and provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
The Minister
to present the Zambia Revenue Authority Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 57 of 2026, a bill seeking to revise the composition of the governing board of the Zambia Revenue Authority and provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
The Minister of Tourism expected to present the Tourism and Hospitality Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 58 of 2026. The bill seeks to revise the composition of the board of the Zambia Tourism Agency, revise the composition of the Hotel Managers Registration Council, and provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
After, we also expect the Minister of Health to present the National Health Research Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 59 of 2026, a bill to revise the composition of the Council of the National Health Research Authority and provided for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
The Minister of Justice to present the National Prosecution Authority Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 61 of 2026. The bill seeks to revise the composition of the board of the National Prosecution Authority and provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
And the Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry is expected to present the Patents and Companies Registration Agency Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 63 of 2026, a bill seeking composition of the Board of Patents and Companies Registration Agency and provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. So that's just some of the business we expect the House to consider. Just now we take you to the floor of the House as we expect business of the House.
Honorable members of Parliament!
Good voice.
Madam Speaker!
Tendency of Zambia, proud and free, land of wit and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for the right. We won freedom's fight, oh, and blessed by those two men. Let us all have people join us one, brothers under the sun, oh, one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry, dignity and peace in Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, oh, one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise be, bless our great Zambia.
your infinite wisdom and providential goodness, has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people. We beseech you to consider, with your abundant favor, us, your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory and to advance the peace of our country and of those whose interests you've committed to our charge. Amen. Order, honorable members. I have some announcements to make. Honorable members, I wish to acquaint the House with the presence in the Speaker's Gallery of the following members of Parliament and staff from the Parliament of Tanzania. Honorable Cecilia Daniel Pereso, MP, Leader of Delegation. Honorable Juma Kamis Sadifa, MP. Honorable Mwanenzi Hassan Suluhu, MP. Honorable Exaud Siloneka Kihai, MP. Honorable Jessica Yuda Mbongo, MP. Honorable Imamu Mutumwa Vioya, MP. Honorable Haji Kombo Ndowe, MP. Mr. Gerard Singano Mangili, Secretariat, which is the last commemoration for this Parliament. You are therefore expected to arrive at 8 hours in readiness for the march past. The Honorable Member for Nkana, that is an important matter. It's an important matter, but I'm sure
the Vice President, who is the leader of government business. Madam Speaker, whilst we appreciate the development that is being done by the UPND government, especially on the Ndola Lusaka, so that drivers are bound to observe and respect those signages before we record any loss of life. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
Mobile networks, which are serviced by Infratel. Madam Speaker, the past 2 days, there is literally no mobile communication tower in Mkongole Chiefdom which is working. All of them have gone off, and our people there have no means of communication. Even when these health facilities have referral cases, they cannot reach Mpika to get the ambulance to come and help them ferry the patients. Madam Speaker, I really seek your indulgence. I thank you.
Did you approach the minister? Thank you. Presentation of government bills. Her Honor the Vice President.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled The National Assembly Powers, Privileges and Immunities Bill, National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2026.
Order, honorable members. Order. Do we have a problem? Order. We can go and sort out the problem outside. We allowed Her Honor the Vice President to present the bill. Her Honor the Vice President, you may continue.
The objects of this bill are to A, provide for the powers, privileges, and immunities of the members and officers of the National Assembly. B, provide for the attendance and privileges and immunities of witnesses before a parliamentary committee. C, provide for disciplinary action against members for breach of privilege and contempt of the National Assembly. D, replace the National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act 1956. And E, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The National Assembly Powers, Privileges and Immunities Bill, National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Parliamentary Select Committee appointed to scrutinize the National Assembly Powers, Privileges and Immunities Bill, National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2026. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill, Her Honor the Vice President.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Parliamentary Code of Conduct Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2026. The objects of this bill are to A, establish a code of conduct for members of Parliament. B,
Order.
Repeal and replace the Parliamentary and Ministerial Code of Conduct Act 1994. And C, provide for matters connected with
the Flying Doctor Service Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 47 of 2026. The object of this bill are to A, revise the composition of the Flying Doctor Service Board, and B, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The Flying Doctor Service Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 47 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. And honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honorable Minister of Health.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2026. The objects of this bill are to A, revise the composition of the board of the Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency, and B, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honorable Minister of Tourism.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Zambia Wildlife Amendment Bill, number 49 of 2026. The objects of the bill are to revise the composition of Wildlife Management Licensing Committee, B, to provide for matters connected and incidental to the foregoing.
Let the bill be read the first time. The Honorable Member for Lunte and Kana, please leave the House. Go and caucus outside. You are disturbing the proceedings of the House. You may continue.
The Zambia Wildlife Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 49 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Energy, Water Development and Tourism. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honorable Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Sports Council of Zambia Amendment Bill, number 52 of 2026. And the objects of this bill are to, in A, revise the composition of the Executive Board of the Sports Council of Zambia, and in B, to provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The Sports Council of Zambia Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 52 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Cabinet Affairs. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. And honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honorable Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Zambia Educational Publishing House Foundation Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 54 of 2026. The objects of this bill are to A, revise the composition of the Executive Committee of the Zambia Educational Publishing House Foundation, and B, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The Zambia Educational Publishing House Foundation Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 54 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Cabinet Affairs. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work. Next bill, the Honorable Minister of Tourism.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Zambia Institute for Tourism Hospitality Studies Amendment Bill, number 55 of 2026. The objects of the bill, Madam Speaker, are to, 1, revise the composition of the Council of the Zambia Institute for Tourism and Hospitality Studies, and B, provide for matters connected with and incidental to the foregoing. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The Zambia Institute for Tourism and Hospitality Studies Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 55 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Energy, Water Development and Tourism. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honourable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the programme of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honourable Minister of Justice. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Thank you. Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill entitled the Zambia Institution of Advanced Legal Education Amendment Bill number 56 of 2026. The object of the bills are to revise the composition of the Council of the Zambia Institute of Advanced Legal Education and B, provide for the matter connected with incidentals to the foregoing.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The Zambia Institute of Advanced Legal Education Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Cabinet Affairs. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honourable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the programme of work of the committee. Next bill, the Acting Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Zambia Revenue Authority Amendment Bill number 57 of 2026. The objects of this bill are to A, revise the composition of the governing body of the Zambia Revenue Authority, and B, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The Zambia Revenue Authority Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 57 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on National Economy, Trade and Labour Matters. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honourable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the programme of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honourable Minister of Tourism.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Tourism and Hospitality Amendment Bill, number 58 of 2026. Madam Speaker, the objects of the bill are to A, revise the composition of the board of the Zambia Tourism Agency, B, revise the composition of the Hotel Managers Registration Council, C, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The Tourism and Hospitality Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 58 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Energy, Water Development and Tourism. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honourable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the programme of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honourable Minister of Health.
Madam Speaker, thank you. Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the National Health Research Bill, National Assembly Bill number 59 of 2026. The objects of the bill are to A, revise the composition of the Council of the National Health Research Authority, and B, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The National Health Research Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 59 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. And honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honorable Minister of Justice.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the National Prosecution Authority Amendment Bill, number 61 of 2026. The objects of the bill are: A, revise the composition of the Board of the National Prosecution Authority, and B, provide for matters connected with or incidentals to the foregoing.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The National Prosecution Authority Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 61 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Cabinet Affairs. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honorable Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Patents and Companies Registration Agency Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 63 of 2026. And the objects of this bill are to A, revise the composition of the board of the Patents and Companies Registration Agency, and B, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The Patents and Companies Registration Agency Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 63 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on National Economy, Trade and Labor Matters. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honorable Minister of Community Development and Social Services.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Persons with Disabilities Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill, number 64 of 2026. The objects of the bill are: 1, revise the composition of the board of the Zambia Agency for Persons with Disabilities, and B, provide the matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The Persons with Disabilities Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 64 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill, the Acting Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Land Perpetual Succession Bill, National Assembly Bill number 66 of 2026. The objects of this bill are: A, provide for the incorporation of a trust for the purposes of perpetual succession to land. B, provide for the appointment and duties of trustees of a registered trust. C, give effect to the Financial Action Task Force recommendations relating to beneficial ownership of a registered trust. D, repeal and replace the Land Perpetual Succession Act, and E, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The Lands Perpetual Succession Bill, National Assembly Bill number 66 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Cabinet Affairs, and the committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Questions for oral answer understanding order number 82. The Honorable Member for Kafue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 316.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Member of Parliament for Kafue Parliamentary Constituency asked the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, A, whether the government is aware that there has been an occurrence of sinkholes in Chisankane ward in Kafue Parliamentary Constituency, which is an imminent threat to human life, property, and infrastructure. And if so, what urgent measures are being taken to address the problem and safeguard the affected families? Madam Speaker, the response we have is that the government is aware of the problem of sinkholes in its Sankane ward of Kafue Parliamentary Constituency. The Disaster Mitigation and Management Unit, together with the Kafue Town Council, visited the area and assessed the problem. The urgent measures which are being done to address the problem are as follows. 1, burying the sinkholes, which was done by Kafue Town Council. 2, engage the Geological Survey Department for a detailed geological survey of the area. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Kafue.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for those for that response. Yes, the Kafue Town Council had made attempts to try and bury these sinkholes, but as we are talking now, Honorable Minister, there are still some gaping holes in some of the affected areas within Chalala. So I don't know whether we would consider that response as urgent. I just want to get some further assurance from the Minister that this exercise will be done much more urgently than it is actually being addressed now, because those occurrences may actually continue happening. And also the geological survey people. It's been over 2 months now when this happened. So I don't see the agency in the responses really. I don't know what assurance the Minister can give, even the people of Chisankane, that this matter is really being attended to with the seriousness it deserves. I thank you.
The consultations on my right are becoming louder. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much, and I'd like to thank my dear Honorable Sister for a follow-up question. Madam Speaker, what the local authority can do, or Minister of Local Government can do, basically when such an occurrence happens, such of in nature like a sinkhole, because of lack of proper information, as our duties basically with the DMM used to bury. Now, what we have done as a ministry is that to engage the Ministry of Mines. That's what you heard when I was responding. I mentioned about the geological survey department, that they have to really dig deeper to understand what causes these sinkholes. Because the preliminary information that we have been given is that there is sometimes when it rains, there is some chemical reaction underground, such that when the ground is dissolved, it creates a vacuum. So once it creates a vacuum, hence the sinkholes. So in trying to permanently address this challenge, we have engaged the Ministry of Mines to help us. Because we shall keep burying, but the occurrence will continue happening. So we are looking at the permanent solution that can be addressed, particularly by the Ministry of Mines. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kafue.
I just wanted to check with the minister now if he has some time to take a field visitation to the affected area so that he just appreciates the problem on the ground as it stands. I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I can rest assured, my dear colleague, that next week I'll set a date and time so that we go together and visit the place. Otherwise, that's the response I'm giving. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next question. Understanding order number 80, the Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 317.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member of Parliament for Mpika Parliamentary Constituency, Honorable Kapyanga, asked the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development whether the government has any plans to rehabilitate the following feeder roads in Mpika Parliamentary Constituency. One, Chansa, Mubanga, Chipondo, Mufubushi, Kasenga, Mpika, Katibunga, Chuangando, Changaliro, and Chilonga, Mulolesha. Madam Speaker, the response from my ministry is government through the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development has plans to rehabilitate all feeder roads that are in a deplorable state, including the ones mentioned from Pika Parliamentary Constituency. However, this is dependent on the availability of funds. In the meantime, Madam Speaker, Mpika Town Council is currently doing the Mpika Katibunga Road with formation and graveling works underway. The remaining roads are not in the local authorities 2026 plans, but the minister has advised the council to immediately begin doing some light grading on them in the short and medium term using the fuel component under the Constituency Development Fund and the road license fees allocation for 2026. As already mentioned above, this is dependent on availability of funds and plans are there. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, these are economic roads and they require a lot of money to be properly done. The fuel component under the CDF alluded to is a locked fund. You cannot use it for instance, constructing drainages during the road construction. So whatever they do during this period, during the rain season, the road is washed away. Therefore, these roads require a lot of funding from the central government for proper gravel roads. Madam Speaker, my question to the Minister, therefore, is, at least since there are plans, there must be an indication of when the roads will be done, so that if it's too wet, the people will be waiting for that particular period. Madam Speaker, thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much, and I'd like to thank my dear colleague for a follow-up question. Madam Speaker, I do agree with the Honorable Member of Parliament that these are economic roads, taking into account that the people of Mpika are real farmers, and this is where they have their produce being transported using the same feeder roads that are being mentioned. Like I indicated in my response, Madam Speaker, basically the CDF component is just for short term. I never said that's the permanent solution. We do understand, but once resources are made available, like in many parliamentary constituencies here, Madam Speaker, they need their feeder roads to be attended to. Just like the challenges that Mpika is facing, that's the challenge faced by a lot of constituencies in the country. So all we need is, we have seen how the government has tackled the IMF debt restructuring program, which is now fully completed. Kudos to the President of the Republic of Zambia, the Finance Minister, and the entire UPND team. This signals, Madam Speaker, to say very soon resources will be made available to the people of Mpika to undertake these feeder roads. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Shiwangandu.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, I heard you, Minister of Sports. We shall be joining us as former ministers very soon. So be ready for the orientation workshop I'll be conducting next week. Madam Speaker, I heard you'll be former minister in 2 weeks. What's the dreams
Honorable
about
Member
that?
for Shiwangandu,
2 weeks'
please
time.
go to your question. Proceed with your question.
It's who should stop dreaming. Madam Speaker, I heard the Honorable Minister acknowledge that he has got plans, the government has got plans to rehabilitate Shiwangandu Changariro Road. Minister, this road was actually procured and the contract was just terminated due to insufficient funds, I think 4 or 5 years ago. And the component of CDF, which from which we allocate some amount to road works, is not enough because the magnitude of the works to be undertaken quite huge. When would you assure the people of Mpika and Shiwangandu, what period do you think this road can be considered? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much, and I'd like to thank my dear colleague from Shiwangandu for a follow-up question. I do understand, Madam Speaker, how committed the Member of Parliament is in trying to work for his people. Madam Speaker, I don't want to commit to a specific date, week, month, or year. But we have heard we are listening government. Once resources are made available, definitely that will be a priority. So to give a specific time frame, I don't want to deceive my dear colleagues with lies. Thank you so much.
The Honorable Member from Mpika.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, once again. Madam Speaker.
Order the Honorable Member for Shiwangandu. But I haven't given you the floor to talk. The honorable member may continue.
Thank you once again, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in the case of the Mpika Katibunga Road, the Mufubu Shikasenga Road, and also the Chipundu Kaluba Road, these roads were procured, Madam Speaker, and let alone the contracts were terminated. After the termination of contracts, Madam Speaker, I asked a similar question, and I was assured that following the debt restructuring, these roads will be done as monies now will be unlocked. The Honorable Minister of Local Government gives a similar position of talking about debt restructuring and all that. Madam Speaker, I'm now tempted to ask, when the people... Madam Speaker, I need your protection.
You may continue, honorable member, you are protected.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I would like to find out from the Honorable Minister of Local Government, in this case, when will the people benefit from the debt restructuring like he has indicated? Because he has not indicated any period, he just said very soon we'll start benefiting from the fruits of the debt restructuring, and these roads will be done. Madam Speaker, my question is, when specifically will we start having the benefits of debt restructuring as he has alluded to? Madam Speaker, thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, allow me to thank my dear colleague for a follow-up question. Madam Speaker, these roads, Madam Speaker, had the contracts that were awarded.
Order, honorable members, order. The debates, the exchange of words between the Honorable Minister of Youth Sports and Arts, and the Honorable Member for Shiwangandu, they should stop. If you want to continue talking to each other, you can actually use the corridors outside, so that you have enough time to discuss and iron out whatever issues you want to sort out. Please, the Honorable Minister may continue.
Madam Speaker, what led to the cancellation of the contracts awarded to these feeder roads because the government had no money to undertake the works. Hence the cancellation. Now that there is a window, we have achieved a major challenge that we faced, which was where the debt was quite huge. Now that we have completed the restructuring, these are signs, Madam Speaker, to say not only in Mpika, a lot of feeder roads, even the allocation of money towards feeder roads will be improving. So to give a specific day and time, I don't want to mislead or give false information on the floor. But just assuring to say, we are a listening government. We are not going to contract works without matching resources. So since now there is this window, definitely, like any other constituencies that need feeder roads, Mpika will be considered. Thank you so much.
The Honorable Member for Mandevu.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. First of all, allow me to...
Order, the Honorable Member for Mandevu. There's an indication for a point of order. The Honorable Member for Lunte, what is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, thank you for according me this very rare opportunity to raise a point of order on the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. Madam Speaker, everybody not only in this house, but in the country at large, know exactly what this house is about. It's about transacting official business, Madam Speaker. Enacting laws, even such laws as we're going through first reading this afternoon. Madam Speaker, we are here to represent our people. He is the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, who I have been informed is shifting constituents in order to come to this house to transact private business selling tickets in this assembly. I seek your serious. He has been selling tickets, Madam Speaker. From there, now he's here. Is he in order, Madam Speaker?
Order, honorable members. From where I'm seated here, I don't know what the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs is doing. I just saw him leave his seat and he went to caucus with the Honorable Minister of Health. Really, I don't know what is transacting there. That is disturbing the flow of the House or the debates on the floor of the House. As far as I'm concerned, we are not distracted. We are not distracted by the movement of the Minister of Home Affairs. So the Honorable Minister for Home Affairs is not out of order. He hasn't distracted the proceedings of this House. We make progress. The Honorable Member for Mandevu.
I'm grateful, Madam Speaker. I wanted to start with congratulating the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, my uncle, Honorable Jack Mwimbu, for having successfully announced to shift from Monze Central, where he has served 5 terms, 25 years, Madam Speaker, and now he's moving to Monze East, where he wants to start his new term. Congratulations. Madam Speaker, following the Minister answering the question asked by the Honorable Member from Mpika, I've heard him say that now that the government has successfully completed the IMF program, funds will be available to be applied to undertake the rehabilitation of feeder roads, not only in Mpika, but many other constituencies in the country. Minister, I wish to find out through Madam Speaker, it is also your mandate to rehabilitate and construct roads to bituminous standards, a mandate given to you by the Amendment Act number 2 of the Constitution of Zambia, 2016. The Chazanga-Kabananga Road is in a deplorable state after being eaten away by the rains. Can you confirm that you also provide funds to rehabilitate such roads that have been damaged by the rains? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much, and I'd like to thank my dear colleague for cleverly bringing in the Mandevu constituency when this was a constituency-based question. Sorry. I know, Madam Speaker, I had a discussion with him regarding the same road he has mentioned, where he says there is a big pothole that has developed. So I requested him to engage the local authority, which is the Lusaka City Council, to come up with some sort of request so that we look at the contractors that are within Lusaka, whether we can find one to go and work on that pothole to prevent further damage to the road. So all he wants, Madam Speaker, from me and on the floor of the House, that the people of his constituents should know that he has brought up the matter. but we had a conversation on the phone. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Lundazi.
Lay the facts on the table.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving a chance to the people of Lundazi to ask a follow-up question to the Minister of Local Government. Honorable Minister, the issue of roads are a mess everywhere where you cancelled the contracts. And now, here is a situation where you give each and every member of parliament almost 3.5 million to say that they can be able to work on the roads on their own. Meanwhile, a crossing point or a bridge is costing maybe 2.8 million, thereby leaving only maybe 700,000 to be worked on. Now, Honorable Minister, while the idea of sharing the resources equally to each and every member is a good idea, don't you think if you had gathered these resources, since your answer is always saying you have no resources, if you had gathered resources for the 156 constituencies and targeted on working on certain roads, don't you think it wasn't going to be a recurring expense, rather than this spreading of small resources everywhere? I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much for the opportunity given to answer my dear sister, Honorable Member of Parliament for Lundazi. Madam Speaker, an initiative was created to say, because of the challenges that we had as a country, economically, it's better each MP has 3.2 million kwacha to do some remedial works in their feeder roads. So if you, as members of parliament, you don't need that 3.2, come to us. We shall know where to take it. But we thought this 3.2 is already making a big difference in all the constituencies. Unless you members of parliament, you're not seeing any difference. You come back to us, you tell us to say, no, go and use it somewhere else. We shall tell the people of Zambia to say, the 3.2 in the constituency is not making anything according to the members of parliament. Therefore, we are channeling into other needy areas. However, Madam Speaker, during my area response to a member of parliament for Mpika, I did indicate to say what led to the contracts cancelled was the government had no resources. We owed a lot. So we could not keep on getting a lot of Congolese or credit or debt. All we needed was to clear what we owed. And that's what this government has done. Now, since there is this breather, going forward, Madam Speaker, despite members of parliament receiving 3.2, they will see a lot of progress on feeder roads because the resource envelope now has eased. That's what I meant, and that is our direction as government, to say, work on the remedial works, but as government now, since there is a breather, we shall come on board to give major attention to all the feeder roads. That is the assurance that I'm making to say we are determined. The fact that now we have achieved a challenge that we had as a nation. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
The last member, the Honorable Member for Kantanchi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And Honourable Minister, I've been following your responses, but I'm a bit concerned, Madam Speaker. We have spent certain constituencies like ours, as a district, Mufulira district, we have spent millions and millions of kwacha buying equipment for road rehabilitation. And the equipment that we have is equivalent to the equipment that any serious road contracting company has. Now, I got concerned when the minister was saying when resources are available, we're going to have contractors all over the shore doing these roads. One would have thought that these investments that have been made in the councils, there could have been a way in which, maybe collaborating with the Ministry of Infrastructure through RDA, the council is properly supported in terms of capacity. Madam Speaker, in Kantanshi, for example, and the people of Kantanshi are listening, when a road is done by the council, even a bicycle can't be ridden on. That's how bad the situation is, but with very expensive equipment. Honorable Minister, when are we going to see a closer collaboration? We already have invested in equipment. When are we going to see a proper collaboration between yourself and Ministry of Infrastructure so that you optimize this CDF money that we have used instead of us looking forward to new contracts and new contractors coming in our areas? When are we going to see that collaboration so that we can optimize the usage of taxpayers' money? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. I'd like to thank my dear colleague, Member of Parliament for Kantanshi Parliamentary Constituency for his observation to say, indeed, as government, we have bought yellow machines in all the 116 districts, 156 parliamentary constituencies. He's talked of the capacity and also collaboration with the Minister of Infrastructure so that at least we optimize utilization of these yellow machines. I think that's a good suggestion. It's something that we need to consider, and also rehearsing with the Minister of Infrastructure. We have to look at how best we can utilize the same yellow machine instead of getting from a contractor. By so doing, it will mean, even in terms of kilometers that we're going to do, the kilometer range will increase because there will be a saving on the equipment that we have. So I totally agree with you. It's a matter of good observation. That was off my cuff, but I'll be engaging the Minister of Infrastructure so that we get their technical know-how, we add with what we have, and we move on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Pemba.
Question 318 on behalf of the good people of Pemba.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member for Pemba, Honorable Lamek Hamwata, asks government what measures the government has put in place to ensure accountability and transparency in the distribution of farming inputs under the Farmer Input Support Program. B, whether periodic transfers of agriculture camp officers who have overstayed in one location is among the measures. And C, if the transfer of camp officers is not one of the measures, why? Madam Speaker, our responses are as follows. A, government is taking the following measures to ensure accountability and transparency in the distribution of farming inputs under the Farmer Input Support Program. One, we modernize the support system for farmers under FISIP, including successfully rolling out the cost-effective e-voucher system to all the 116 districts in the 2025-2026 farming season, equipping our farmers with the power to decide on the types of inputs to get. Two, improving beneficiary targeting through continuous verification of beneficiaries to ensure only eligible and active farmers are onboarded. Three, enhanced supplier onboarding criteria through and inclusive selection criteria. Four, timely deposits by farmers through the use of banking and mobile money solutions. And five, timely transaction settlements for suppliers, reducing on paperwork risks and fraud of value for money. For B, Madam Speaker, government carries out periodic transfers of all employees who have overstayed in one location, regardless of whether they are camp officers or not, to improve accountability and transparency in service delivery. However, it must be noted, Madam Speaker, that this is not consistently done due sometimes to cost implications involved. And C, the transfer of camp officers is not among the measures at A, as the FISIP is electronic and no camp officer is involved in the distribution of farming inputs under the program. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Pemba.
I want to thank you, Honorable Minister, especially the measures that you are putting in place to promote accountability and transparency. Now, my question is, looking at the system that is being used, where when the fertilizer comes, seeds or the FISIP packs, they go direct to the beneficiaries. Is there any possibility that a district can have excess packs with the system that we are using?
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
In the current dispensation, the only way in which a district can have excess packs is if the farmers do not go to get the inputs. Remember, Madam Speaker, we give the farmers the voucher. They take the voucher to the shop to go and redeem. So if a number of them don't redeem, we will easily find out at the ministry by checking our records that such a district, their people are not collecting, and we will query and find out why. But that the district will have the fertilizer, etc., no, because we no longer buy fertilizer. The fertilizer is with the agro dealers. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Magoye.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, I want to find out from you if the what safeguard exists to prevent agricultural camp officers from colluding with cooperatives to disadvantage genuine small-scale farmers? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, the question asked by the Honorable Member for Magoye is extremely important. It is very, very true that some of the camp officers find themselves accessing FISIP inputs. And that happens purely out of being untrustworthy, cheating, dishonesty, because these are the people who give us the names to say farmer so and farmer so are members of a given cooperative, so we process the system. Meanwhile, those farmers don't exist, and they use fake names and then go and themselves redeem. And I have come in this house and said, where you have such officers, just let me know. They will not see the end of the day. We will get rid of them, because we want to get rid of that type of dishonesty at the ministry. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Namwala.
Thank you so very much, Madam Speaker. Through you to the Minister. Minister, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, through you to the Minister. Minister, I just want to find out how often does your ministry, through the provincial coordinators, hold engagement meetings with the camp officers and the DACOs to ensure that the element of transparency and accountability is adhered to? I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, every year before the marketing season, like now, our senior officers are meeting the camp officers to come up with the manual, the handbook, which directs us how to carry out a given year. So we meet them at least every year. And in terms of the provincial officers, they are with the camp officers every so often. But where you have a problem, honorable members, don't hesitate to let the office, the head office know, so that those problems in those particular areas are solved and solved very effectively at that given time. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Pemba.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, following the good policies and the strategy being used to curb mismanagement of FISIP, I want to find out whether from the time this system has been implemented, have we ever had a situation where some of either camp officers or any member have been found mismanaging this FISIP, and whether they have been prosecuted?
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
The answer is yes, Madam Speaker. This last season, you will recall the Honorable Member for Chama, Honorable Mungandu, actually informed us that there were camp officers who were mishandling fertilizer in Chama, and we gave him authority to take them to police, and they were actually arrested. As we are talking, they are in police custody. 2 years ago, we had 215,000 farmers who were not genuine. 215,000 farmers out of 1,024,438 whom we deal with. And we made sure that those farmers, when we identified there was a problem, are replaced by genuine farmers. So it is a continuous process. As we are planning today to give fertilizer to the people this season, there are crooks within the ministry and outside who want to take advantage and partake of that fertilizer. So yes, we have had people arrested. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Shuangandu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister of Agriculture, you have repeatedly informed this August House that the government has got no intention to increase the number of beneficiaries on the FISIP program, as well as the number of packs that are being given to the farmers. What instructions are you giving to these camp officers who have been struggling to manage the increased number of cooperatives, whilst the number of beneficiaries and packs remain the same, not in some cases even reduced? How are you managing the transition? And how are you helping those camp officers to manage this increased number of cooperatives against the limited number of input packs that you give to the farmers, and the number which has remained, and you said the number has reduced actually the last time you were informing this August House? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, a couple of times, the Honorable Member for Chwangandu has come to bring this issue out. I will repeat. The FISIP, Farmer Input Support Program, has a budget of close to $500 million annually. The way you left it, Honorable, almost $500 million annually. And FISIP is a 100% grant. The people don't pay back. As a consequence, it is not sustainable. So we have gone for a more sustainable way of supplying inputs to the farmers, and that is the Sustainable Agriculture Financing Facility, commonly called SAF. It is a more sustainable program. But in order not to disturb the farmers, we said we are not going to do away with FISIP. The two will run side by side so that we do not disrupt the agricultural process in the country. So the farmers know. We have been on radio. The agriculture officers know. We tell them what to tell the farmers so that we don't injure our farming community, our gallant farmers who have produced a bumper harvest for the first time since independence of Zambia. We appreciate their input, but we should also bring up sustainability of the programs. I thank you.
Thank you. Motions, the Honorable Member for Ron.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Committee on National Economy, Trade and Labour Matters for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on 16th April 2026.
Is the motion seconded?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Seconded by the Honourable Member for Senanga. The question is that this House adopts the report of the Committee on National Economy, Trade and Labour Matters on the review of the operations of the National Pension Scheme Authority for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 16th April 2026. Any debate? The Honourable Member for Ron.
Madam Speaker, in accordance with its terms of reference, as set out under Standing Orders 206J and 207 of the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Orders 2024, the committee undertook a review of the operations of the National Pension Scheme Authority and during the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly. Madam Speaker, as you may be aware, NAPSA remains one of Zambia's most significant public institutions entrusted with safeguarding the retirement securing of millions of workers, and its mandate is not only economic but deeply social, ensuring dignity in retirement, stability in development and livelihoods, and indeed confidence in public institutions. Madam Speaker, however, as with any institutions of such scale and importance, it is essential that we periodically assess its operations to ensure alignment with national development priorities and public expectations. Madam Speaker, you may wish to know that over time, several key issues have emerged regarding NAPSA's operations, which include investment performance and asset utilization, liquidity and benefit processing, governance and indeed transparency and public confidence and awareness. Madam Speaker, having interacted with various stakeholders on the subject matter, the committee has made observations and recommendations contained in the report, and however, I will highlight just a few. Madam Speaker, with regards to legal framework, the committee observes with concern that the existing legal framework, which was designed for a predominantly formal economy, has been outpaced by changes in the labor market structure, including increased informality and demographic shifts. In view of this, the committee recommends that a statutory review be effected and institutionalized to ensure that the legal framework remains responsive to emerging labor patterns, longevity trends, and indeed fiscal sustainability considerations without delay. Madam Speaker, with regards to informal sector collections of contribution challenges, the committee observed that labor statistics consistently show that Zambia's labor market is predominantly informal. However, enforcement among informal sector participants presents persistent challenges due to income volatility, limited record keeping, and difficulties in employer and employee classification. In this regard, the committee recommends the enhanced use of digital platforms and targeted compliance incentives. Incentives tailored to informal sector realities. Madam Speaker, this while maintaining statutory enforcement as a deterrent for willful non-compliance. Madam Speaker, as I conclude, allow me to pay tribute to the stakeholders who interacted with the committee for the valuable insights they provided, and gratitude also goes to you, Madam Speaker, and the Clerk of the National Assembly for the guidance and support rendered to the committee throughout its deliberation and the study. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you. Does the seconder wish to speak now or later?
Now, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Senanga.
Madam Speaker, I wish to thank the mover of this motion, Honourable George Buye, for the able manner in which he has moved this motion. Madam Speaker, in seconding this motion, allow me to comment on a few issues which the mover has not touched on. Madam Speaker, with regards to enforcement and compliance mechanism, the committee observes that the current statutory penalties imposed, which are capped at 400, are too low, as they no longer provide sufficient deterrence. The whole essence of penalties is to deter offenders. Now, because they are too low, they don't seem to serve that purpose any longer. In this regard, the committee recommends that statutory penalties be reviewed to ensure they are proportionate and effective. The committee also recommends the strengthening of inspector powers with clear procedural safeguards and graduated sanctions to enhance enforcement while maintaining fairness. Madam Speaker, with regards to worker representation, which has seemed to be an issue of late, the committee observes that while Clause 5 to 7 of the NAPSA Act number 40 of 1996 provides for its functions, governance, and administration, the Act does not adequately guarantee meaningful worker representation in governance and oversight structures. Madam Speaker, while there's need for the employer to be well represented on the NAPSA board, the employees also need to be well represented on the NAPSA board. The committee, therefore, recommends the review of the Act to provide for enhancement of worker and employer representation on the NAPSA board. Madam Speaker, with these few words, I beg to second.
Thank you. Any further debate? The Honourable Member for Shiwangandu.
Most appreciated, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to make a few comments on the motion moved to adopt the report of your Committee on National Economic, Trade and Labour Matters. Madam Speaker, the report is in two parts, and I'll make comments on the first part of the report, which is looking at the review of the operations of the National Pension Scheme Authority, NAPSA. Madam Speaker, in the review of the operations, your committee takes note of the challenges that surrounds the operations of the scheme. And firstly, they acknowledge the limitations in terms of coverage, as the scheme caters for formal sector workers, while over 70% of the Zambia's labor force is in the informal economy. And what this basically does is that it leaves the majority of citizens without social protection. And secondly, the issues of operational inefficiency, including delays in benefit processing, weak information, communication technology, ICT systems, and inadequate member services has eroded public trust. Madam Speaker, the whole essence of the scheme must have the confidence of the citizens. And this is a national scheme which must be inclusive. Now, as you hear from this report, 70% of our workers who are in the informal sector are not covered by this social security protection. So meaning, as we review, I hope the act that has been brought before this Parliament does cater for this informal sector so that the scheme can be inclusive. Madam Speaker, the other challenges that have been highlighted that the scheme faces are growing sustainability challenges driven by increasing life expectancy, high unemployment, early withdrawals, and economic volatility that undermine fund adequacy. Madam Speaker, it was here where we stated and we heard people celebrating this issue which has been now raised here of early withdrawals. The whole essence of pension, Madam Speaker, is to prepare a worker for post-tour of duty when you are retired. And therefore, whichever way you look at it, to encourage a worker to start eating the pensional benefits while they are working is not sustainable both ways, both for the workers and the scheme. Especially for the workers, Madam Speaker. If you take a study and look at those that have benefited from the early withdrawals, what is it that they've done with that money they got other than just paying school fees for their children? And obviously meeting the high cost of living that has been ravaging our workers. There will be no worker who will show you that from the early withdrawal, this is what I've been able to establish. Because they've just gotten it for consumption. So whichever way you look at it, Madam Speaker.
Member for Shiwangandu, don't generalize, because have you done that survey? Do you have evidence to say that no one has made use of
Madam
that
Speaker,
money?
our essence of debating these matters, we are people's representatives. And we live in communities.
We are supposed to be factual.
I'm speaking to the report, Madam Speaker, for heaven's sake. And I represent people, and I know. Those of the teachers who have accessed these
the honorable member for Shiwangandu, much as you are representing the people, we have a report before us which you are following, but at the same time we are supposed to be factual.
Madam Speaker, I can't just bring the list.
All the people have not utilized the partial withdrawal, apart from paying for their school fees and also because of the high cost of living. So
Madam Speaker, I'll limit it to my people in Shiwangandu. Those civil servants who have accessed, I can confirm here as their representative. And you know what I'm talking about, unless you want to pretend. Here is the report. But more so, this report is saying this is posing sustainability challenges for the scheme because they didn't plan. This is what this report is saying, Madam Speaker. I'm not speaking from anywhere. I'm speaking from the report.
Yes, Honorable
Further,
Member.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Member for Shiwangandu, I just wanted you to be factual. Now, the fact that you've said the people for Shiwangandu, because you had said all the people that got the partial withdrawal. So now that you've specifically mentioned the people of Shiwangandu, that is correct. You may proceed.
Madam Speaker, I appreciate your guidance. And indeed, we hope that these recommendations that the report is making are reflected in the bill that is coming before this August House. Madam Speaker, the other challenge highlighted in here is statutory investment framework. Madam Speaker, NAPSA has been investing in a number of ventures. Obviously, that's approved by the board. But the report notes that there has been lack of transparency, Madam Speaker, because the people who contribute money to NAPSA have got a right to know how their money is being invested. Here, Madam Speaker, the report is saying several major projects that are financed by NAPSA experienced delays in completion or commencement of revenue generation. In some instances, expected investment income was deferred beyond planned timelines. What this does, Madam Speaker, is that the money that has been invested and expected to start giving revenue to NAPSA so that those beneficiaries are given money on time does not come on time. And this poses a challenge to the issue that goes to processing of people's benefits. The committee, Madam Speaker, in this is recommending the strengthening of legal framework in order to enhance transparency in reporting investment performance and actuarial assumptions to support public confidence and parliamentary oversight. We would like, Madam Speaker, on behalf of the people we represent, for this institution to have proper oversight. In fact, to some extent, if NAPSA can be getting those investment portfolios approved by this August House, it will be safer for our labor force, for our workers who are contributing money to NAPSA. It is important, Madam Speaker, and I hope, honorable colleagues here, we should pay attention to the bill that is coming with reforms to the NAPSA operations. Because these challenges that are being highlighted here, Madam Speaker, cannot be allowed to continue. At the end of the day, NAPSA is a public scheme. It must be transparent. Even when you are giving money to the foreign institutions, foreign investors, the owners of the money must know, and must know when that money will start generating their benefits. Madam Speaker, with these few words, I submit.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Kanchibia.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much for the opportunity to debate this very important report and motion. From the onset, Madam Speaker, allow me to commend the committee for this very important and insightful report. Madam Speaker, the review of the NAPSA operations is actually long overdue. In the words of scripture, it is said that you can't put new wine in old wineskin. And the more reason why this House anxiously looks forward to the bill as it comes on the floor of this Parliament. Madam Speaker, we need to reform NAPSA's legal framework in the sense that it starts to respond to today's labor sector. This is one aspect that the report has addressed itself to. Bringing the informal sector on board is, again, long overdue. The country is looking at ways of expanding the tax base. The country is looking at ways of formalizing the informal sector. The country then must agree that one way of providing economic security for our people is when we allow NAPSA to capture both the formal and informal sector. But at the center of these reforms, Madam Speaker, must be the worker. So in reviewing the operations of NAPSA, these reviews ought to be worker-centric. In being worker-centric, Madam Speaker, we'll be speaking about fairness and justice for the contributors. And again, the worker out there, Madam Speaker, and those contributing to NAPSA, NAPSA sitting with over 3 million members and over 1 million contributors, active contributors. It cannot be denied that in NAPSA re-engineering itself through this Honourable House and through the reforms, NAPSA must be able to speak to the needs of the worker during and after retirement. We cannot postpone lump sum issues or the withdrawals until someone has retired. When you speak to the life expectancy, we have a number of our people who don't even get to life expectancy and they die. And there are people, Madam Speaker, in this country, workers in this country, who I know because I've interacted with these colleagues because of the motion that this House unanimously passed. People who have got testimonies of how they have made use of the partial withdrawal. And it is only fair that we give workers choice. In giving workers choice, we are saying that you can be responsible, but you do not deplete all your savings. Because the needs and the challenges of our people are real. If I'm going to pay for my children's school, I'm making a responsible decision, a responsible choice. And so, Madam Speaker, as we look at the reforms, reforming and repositioning NAPSA, issues around NAPSA must take center stage. Let's give the workers a choice. And this choice must allow them to get a percentage of what they've been saving so that they do not just use this money when they're about to translate into becoming ancestors. In terms of investment, again, financial literacy, Madam Speaker, becomes very important. It must be incumbent on NAPSA that has reviewed the operations of NAPSA. As NAPSA gets contributions from the members, part of NAPSA's policy must be to mainstream financial literacy among all the contributors. Let contributors understand investment options. Let contributors understand areas where they can place their money for quicker gains, even as they look forward to, towards a retirement. Madam Speaker, one of the challenges we're faced with today is that most people in the formal sector are scared of retiring or retirement because of the uncertainty. This uncertainty is informed by destitution, looking at them right in the face. And if we are going to give ourselves dignity and give our workers dignity in retirement, we must revisit and get back to how NAPSA must correspond to the times that we're living in. And I want to thank the committee for doing a very commendable job. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, allow me to say that NAPSA, as a matter of fact, in repositioning itself, must also speak to the indebtedness of the contributors. Nothing stops NAPSA from offering fair loans to the members. Packages that would allow a member to walk to NAPSA and be able to borrow against what they've been saving. And that money can be recovered over time, as opposed to subjecting our workers to the lending institutions offering predatory rates. And I want to thank this Honorable House for again passing a very important piece of legislation where we are saying that the lending of the financial sector ought to be regulated because compounded interest has sent a number of our workers to their early grave. And so, Madam Speaker, as we look at reviewing the operations of NAPSA, we look forward with hope that the bill as it comes on the floor of Parliament will be able to respond to the needs of our people and that we can walk with our heads high as members and representatives of the people that we did justice for the Zambian worker. Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, allow me to support this report. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Justice to respond on behalf of the Honourable Minister of Labour and Social Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and indeed to all the members that have responded. I will endeavour to respond to some of the few observations. Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for according me this opportunity to present a statement on the operation of the National Pension Scheme Authority, which is popularly known as NAPSA, particularly in responding to the operational issues, the issues of oversight, interest, and also want to thank the committee for their job well done. Madam Speaker, Allow me also to begin by reaffirming government's commitment to ensuring that Zambia's social security system remains strong, credible, and responsive to the needs of the workers, the retirees, and their families. NAPSA is a cornerstone in this very important endeavor. And this is what brings me to respond to some of the issues that has been raised by the honorable colleagues. One that stands out is through Honorable Kampyongo, as he alluded to the fact that partial withdrawal has actually been misused. Madam Speaker, I think Honorable Chanda came back and said the workers are being given a choice. And I think it is important to understand that some of the workers have appreciated this because it has given them businesses opportunities while they are still working. Opposed to when you are retired, and sometimes people have said tired and retired. And the mistakes they may make, they may not recover. So I believe that government, it is in the interest of the workers and indeed in the betterment of NAPSA that now you can even have access to your money. We know in previous government, Madam Speaker, that workers have been dying and never seen a coin of their hard work. So I think this is very progressive, this is very critical, and this is very important. Another issue, Madam Speaker, in responding to my fellow colleagues, is to ensure, to assure the people of Zambia that NAPSA is a partial withdrawal, which means in your old age, you still have access to the funds that are meant for you in old age. Hence the name partial withdrawal. Madam Speaker, NAPSA operates within the broader legal and policy environment that ensures oversight, accountability, and protection of its members. So we do welcome those suggestions of loans being given to the contributors so that their interest is not as exorbitant as some of these lending institutions. And Honorable Chanda, we take your submission seriously as a government, and indeed, as we continue to look into reforming NAPSA for the betterment. Hence, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Labor, and indeed, Social Security, the Bank Association of Zambia, and the Bank Association of Pensions Funds Manager. Beyond the act in itself, NAPSA is also subjected to multiple layers of oversight, and I will endeavor just to mention a few. One of it is where we as members of parliament play a critical role, and this is parliamentary oversight. We know, honorable colleagues, that we scrutinize the statutory instrument and review of the annual reports with the audited financial statements as well as committee reviews. This is a critical role that we play here at Parliament. The Office of the Used with Justice, Auditor General is another oversight that is used to ensure that the well-being and indeed the operation of NAPSA is really well attended to. Again, this includes the reviews of financial statements, procurement, compliance, governance issues, and indeed making sure that the value of the money is also adhered to. The other area that I want to talk about is the Government Finance Management Act, which has come to strengthen organizations such as NAPSA. And also the Public Procurement Act number 8 of 2020, under which NAPSA is procuring entity expected to be uphold transparency, competition, and value for money once again. Madam Speaker, I want now to come to the issues of collection and compliancy, both from the formal and the informal sector. NAPSA continues to strengthen its compliancy through employers' education, partnerships, but also targeted inspections, legal enforcement, and expansion of digital systems such as iCare. Madam Speaker, it is in this House and indeed in many different government institutions and agencies, we are saying we have to digitalize, because there then we can see what's going on and we don't have to wait for the paperwork at the end of the day. Another key area that I want to share to the House, but also to the public, as it relates to the report, are the key legal issues requiring resolutions and indeed proposed amendments. Madam Speaker, government recognizes that while laws have saved the nation, certain provision requires clarifications or strengthening to address emerging realities and close implementation gap of the issues that have been included. And these are funeral grants. Inconsistency between the Act and the regulation has also been cited. According to Section 34, provide funeral grants only upon the death of the contributing member. While regulations also provide for funeral grants upon the death of the pensioner, government will propose amendments to Section 34 so that it aligns with the laws and the regulation and to relieve the families during the bereavement. The other issue that has also been brought to our attention as a government, it is indeed exemptions claimed by international organizations. The second schedule exemption employees of international organizations who are not Zambians, but the term international organization is not well defined. This has led to some foreign-owned institutions to resist remitments of contribution for the Zambians employee claiming the exemption. This gap also, Madam Speaker, is one that needs clarification and indeed to be interrogated so that there is fairness in the contribution. The third issue, Madam Speaker, and indeed to the House, it is the issue of submission of monthly returns. Inclusion of a specific provision for monthly returns would improve the compliance. So we do take note of that and support legibility under penalty waivers and arrangements. I think the Honourable Minister has been into this House several times asking us and the public to say, can we engage such organization as NAPSA so that they can be aware how they can pay for any penalties that they may have. Having said all this, Madam Speaker, government is undertaking holistic reforms and National Pension Scheme Amendment Bill is being considered to address some of these issues that I've alluded to and indeed some of them that may be articulated in the report. I wish to urge the House, therefore, to support the bill when it comes to Parliament. And in concluding, Madam Speaker, and indeed to everyone, allow me to state that NAPSA remains central to national social protection and economic security of this very able government. And government commits to strengthen the legal framework and improve compliance as well as enforcement and expand the coverage, especially in the informal sector, and safeguard the long-term sustainability through prudent investment and good governance. With these few words, Madam Speaker, I want to thank the House. I thank you.
Thank you. Can see the Honourable Member for Shiwangandu.
Madam Speaker, my point of order is pursuant to Standing Order 71. And you have just been guiding us, Madam Speaker, that the statements we make here must be verifiable and we must render evidence to back the statements that we make here. Was the Honourable Minister of Justice, Madam Speaker, to make a blanket statement that in the previous regime, pensioners were dying before accessing their money? Because, Madam Speaker, that issue of people dying is every day, including this time. People are dying before they could access. But was she, in order to make such a blanket statement, without tendering evidence on the floor, in form of death certificates of those workers who could have died before accessing their pension? I seek your serious and fair ruling, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Shiwangandu, honestly speaking, how can the Minister come to this House with death certificates? Apart from maybe getting information from our office about what transpired in the past. So the Honorable Minister of Justice, as far as I'm concerned, she was using the information that she found in the office, but bringing death certificate, will the relatives accept or allow the Minister of Justice to come and display the death certificates in the house? That is impossible. So the Honorable Member for Shiwangandu, that point of order is not admissible because what you are asking for is a non-starter. The Honorable Member for Ron, wind up debate.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, I just want to sincerely thank all the honorable members that have debated the motion, starting with the second of the motion, Honorable Member for Senanga. I also want to thank the Honorable Member for Shiwangandu for the contributions that he has offered on the motion. Also, the Honorable Member for Kanchibia, Madam, I want to sincerely thank him. And I also want to thank the evergreen Honorable Minister of Justice for the insights that she has also added to the motion. And I can only ask the honorable members of this House, Madam Speaker, to overwhelmingly support the motion. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. I put the question. The question is that this House adopts the report of the Committee on National Economy, Trade and Labor Matters on the review of the operations of the National Pension Scheme Authority for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 16th April 2026. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Or the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Next motion, the Honorable Member from Mbabala.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wish to deliver a report on behalf of the Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services on their motion to adopt the committee's report for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly. Madam Speaker.
Is the motion seconded?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Seconded by the Honorable Member for Isoka. The question is that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services on the burden of cancer diseases in Zambia for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Friday, 17th April 2026. Any debate? The Honorable Member from Mbabala.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the House adopts the report of the Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Friday, 17th April 2026. Madam Speaker, I have the honor to present the report of the Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services, which undertook an inquiry into the national burden of cancer diseases in Zambia, a condition that has, in recent years, emerged as a major public health concern. Madam Speaker, evidence presented to the committee revealed that the burden of cancer in Zambia is growing. Between 2016 and 2025, the Cancer Diseases Hospital managed approximately 28,860 new cancer cases, with the majority of them being adults. The most prevalent cancers are cervical cancer at 23%, followed by Kaposi's sarcoma at 16%, prostate cancer at 11.2%, and breast cancer at 7%. Madam, while adult cancers account for the majority of the cases, childhood cancers are fewer in number. Despite their lower incidence, childhood cancers remain a serious concern, with mortality rates exceeding 70%. Madam Speaker, in noting the rising national burden of cancer and the increasing demand for specialized services, the committee has made detailed observations and recommendations. However, due to time constraints, I'll highlight only a few key issues. Madam Speaker, the committee observes that the government has made commendable progress in providing funding for infrastructure development. Funding for cancer treatment infrastructure increased from 78.8 million in 2024 to 354.1 million in 2026, representing a growth rate of 349.1%, Madam Speaker. The committee appreciates this development as it demonstrates strong policy commitment to strengthening cancer services. However, overall, allocations for cancer care remain below 1% of the total health budget, which is far below the recommended WHO target of 5%. Madam Speaker, the effect of this underfunding has resulted in a continued financial burden on patients and their families, who often incur additional costs for medicines that are out of stock, as well as transport and accommodation when seeking treatment. In this regard, the committee strongly recommends that government increases cancer care financing to at least 5% of the health budget. Madam Speaker, the committee further notes that Zambia is facing a critical shortage of specialized cancer personnel. The country currently has a deficit of 2,785 cancer nurses, 18 pediatric oncologists, 36 medical physicists, while not even one cancer pharmacist has been employed. Madam Speaker, this situation is further compounded by the fact that some specialized personnel remain on lower salary scales despite their advanced qualifications. Despite this grim picture, the committee commends cancer workers who have continued to work with limited resources, which would otherwise constrain the overall effectiveness of interventions across the care continuum. Madam Speaker, the committee is concerned that if these human resource gaps are not urgently addressed, Zambia risks sustaining its aspiration to reduce premature mortality from adult cancer by 30% and a failure to improve childhood cancer survival to over 60% by 2030. Further, if staffing remains unchanged, the new cancer facilities being constructed in Livingstone and Ndora may not be fully utilized. Therefore, government must prioritize the recruitment, training, and retention of specialized personnel alongside reviewing remuneration structures. Additionally, Madam Speaker, the committee observes that cancer surveillance systems in Zambia remain inadequate. Despite the growing burden of the disease, cancer has not been designated as a notifiable disease. This has limited systematic data collection and planning. The committee is of the view that designating cancer as a notifiable disease will improve reporting, strengthen data systems, and enhance decision-making. In this regard, the committee urges the government to take immediate steps to designate cancer as a notifiable disease. Further, Madam Speaker, the committee notes that cancer services in Zambia are treatment-heavy and prevention-poor due to significant gaps in early detection and screening. For instance, only 22.2% of women of reproductive age were screened for cervical cancer, far below the World Health screening requirement target of 70%. In addition, rural areas are significantly affected due to limited access to cancer services. In this regard, there is need to strengthen early detection and prevention measures, including scaling up vaccination, expanding screening services, and intensifying public awareness campaigns. Madam Speaker, the committee is of the considered view that without urgent and coordinated action, the cancer burden in Zambia will continue to rise, pressing increased pressure on the health system and imposing significant social and economic costs on the household. Madam, let me conclude by emphasizing that the recommendations contained in the committee's report provide a clear and practical roadmap for strengthening cancer prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and care, and therefore I urge my honorable colleagues to support this motion. Madam Speaker, lastly, allow me to thank you for supporting the committee's work, as well as the stakeholders who provided written and oral submissions. The committee also appreciates the Clerk of the National Assembly for the guidance and assistance provided through this process. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you. Does the seconder wish to speak now or later?
Now, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Isoka.
Madam Speaker, allow me to thank you for giving me the opportunity to second this motion, which has been moved by Mr. Joseph Musanje, Member of Parliament for Mbavala constituency, and Chairperson of the Committee on Health, Community Development, and Social Services.
Order, Honorable Member. As the time is 16:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes.
Well, thank you for still being with us on Parliament Television. Business has been suspended for a 20-minute break, and at the time business was being suspended, on the floor of the House was Isoka, Member of Parliament, Ms. Marjorie Nakaponde, just about to second the motion that has been moved by Mbavala Member of Parliament, Mr. Joseph Munsanje, who is the chairperson of the Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services, urging that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services on the burden of cancer diseases in Zambia for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Friday, 17th April 2026. And so we do expect Ms. Marjorie Nakaponda to continue seconding the motion when business resumes after the break. Just now, we take a look at some of the business that has been considered from the time business commenced.
Yes, indeed, so there was a presentation of 16 government bills, and all the bills were read at first time and are referred to the relevant committees for consideration.
Yes, indeed, and the House has also considered one question for oral answer under Standing Order 80 and 2 questions for oral answer under Standing Order 82. But we must make mention that Madam First Deputy Speaker did make some announcements, and we take a look at one of the announcements. In the announcement, Madam Speaker did inform the House that in May 2025, the inaugural Parliament Day was launched. That was under the theme, Taking Parliament Closer to the People, Strengthening Democratic Governance Through Public Engagement. The launch marked 101 years of the legislature's existence, and that was a key milestone in Parliament's history. Madam First Deputy Speaker said that it was announced that 23rd May will be commemorated annually as Parliament Day to take Parliament closer to the people. She further stated that this year's Parliament Day will be held on Saturday, 25th April 2026 at Parliament Buildings under the theme Strengthening Democratic Governance Through an Inclusive Parliament that Meets the Aspirations of the People. And she said the date was moved from 23rd May to 25th April so as to allow honourable members to participate before Parliament is dissolved in May 2026.
Madam Speaker said that the theme will allow reflection on Parliament's achievements and the need to reposition the institution to meet the needs and aspirations of the people. She added that this is relevant following the Constitution of Zambia Amendment Act number 13 of 2025, which introduced a proportional representation for youth and persons with disabilities in Parliament. And Madam Speaker did invite all members that they need to participate in what will be the last commemoration for this Parliament. She said members are expected to arrive at 08 hours for the march past to be led by Madam Speaker and other presiding officers.
Yes, indeed. So that's just one of the announcements that Madam First Deputy Speaker rendered on the floor of the House. Just now, we take a break. Keep watching Parliament Television.